Come back to those nights, my horror night.
Welcome to the Lens Video Store. I'm your host, Bud Haddonfield. And this is the show we recommend the good, the bad, and ugly of horror movies. And I'm here with my two co-hosts.
Evan Haddonfield.
Colin Haddonfield.
And we're continuing with May of the Dead. Last week we talked about what we were doing this episode, and it's an awesome, amazing zombie movie. And it is 2004's Shaun of the Dead. I was very fortunate to go see this in theaters. I was finishing up high school. It was playing. I pretty much went watch everything in this time period. And this was a movie. I gave it a shot. I absolutely fell in love with. And then from there, I started getting into all their other projects. And when I say they, I'm talking about Edgar Wright, the writer and director, Nick Frost, and Simon Pegg. So the three of them had previously worked on space, and that's kind of where the concept of Shaun of the Dead came on one of the episodes. I think his name was Tim in space, but he had stayed up all night because he had a bunch of caffeine. He was playing Resident Evil 2, and he started seeing zombies and whatnot. And eventually they came up with the idea to make Shaun of the Dead together. So this is the first entry in the Cornetto trilogy, which had Hot Fuzz, I believe, in 2007, and then World's End. I can't remember what year they came out. I know it was a couple years after the fact, but I didn't like that one as much. But the first two entries was absolutely perfect. Hot Fuzz is probably one of my favorite non-horror movies, which technically it is a slasher if you get down to the nitty-gritty. So, Shaun of the Dead is a huge homage and love letter to George A. Romero's Living Dead trilogy. Or it started off as a trilogy and came on, and we're going to get to that. So I know we talk about it all the time. Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968. We had Dawn of the Dead in 78, and we had Day of the Dead in 1985. So, of course, Shaun, Dawn, Shaun of the Dead. It is pretty much about a slacker played by Simon Pegg. Him and his girlfriend Liz. They're serious, even though he's not too serious. And there's a lot of references to a lot of other horror movies and franchises and whatnot. But I'm just going to talk about the similarities to Shaun of the Dead with the George A. Romero zombie films. And I'll get to that later. So, like I said, him and his girlfriend Liz, they pretty much hang out at the Winchester, and she wants more through life, but he doesn't. And he lives back at his little flat with his two roommates, one played by Nick Frost. Ed is his character's name. And then the other one who's a prick and whatnot. But pretty much he always sticks his neck out for Nick Frost's character, even though it kind of makes him look like an idiot. So anyway, long story short, he messes up a date night, and then Liz breaks up with him. And then the very next day, the zombie apocalypse happens. So he has to save his mom, Liz's roommates, boyfriend, who's a twat. And they got to do what they can to survive the zombie apocalypse. And I'm going to leave it at that. This movie is absolutely amazing. I love it. I give it 5 stars. It's one of those times, the first time I watched it, I instantly fell in love with it. And it was actually the first bootleg DVD I ever bought back in the day when people would record shit in the movie theaters. So statute of limitations up because it's been 22 years and whatnot. But let's talk about the similarities, and we're going to start at the very beginning. So at the beginning of Shaun of the Dead, where we get the Universal credits, we get that certain music, and it is exactly the same score from Dawn of the Dead with the helicopter scene. And I'm going to play them both right here. So another homage is when Shaun is walking into the little convenience store, and he hears like a newscast or whatever the hell you call it, and it goes back to Night of the Living Dead's little newscast. So I'm going to play it right here.
The American deep space probe Omega-6, due to return to Earth this weekend, unexpectedly
re-entered Earth's atmosphere in the southeast England. A bright part was believed to be...
You're coming from a meeting regarding the explosion of the Venus probe, is that right?
Yes, that was the subject of the meeting.
You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection.
In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations?
There was a very high degree of radiation.
Well, just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has
the
been
only logical
irrefutably
explanation that
proved.
we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen.
This seems to
I
be...
must disagree with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
everything is being done that can be done.
One of the most iconic and recognizable are "We're Coming to Get You, Barbara" to "Night of the Living Dead's "They're Coming to Get You, Barbara."
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
All right, another one is where Shaun works, and it is Foray Electric, and it is an homage to Ken Foray, who played one of the male leads in Dawn of the Dead. When he walks back into the gas station after the convenience store, after the little zombie apocalypse happened, you're going to see a little sign on the wall, and I'm going to play that video right here. And the little sign says Bub Pizza, which is an homage to Day of the Dead, with the main zombie being Bub, that they nicknamed within the movie. And I think Gary Sherman played him in there. So when he's looking for the restaurant to take Liz out, you see Full Cheese, which is the little restaurant. And then it was homage to Lucio Fulci. He directed Zombie, or Zombie Flesh Eater, or Zombie 2, which was an Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Let's see. There's a whole lot. I'm just trying to recognize all of them as I can right now. So we have the Winchester, which is kind of an homage to Night of the Living Dead, because the main gun used in that bin is a Winchester. It's not the same model, but it's pretty much similar. The little neighbor that lived with Liz, his name's Gary.
I don't remember.
I think it's Gary, and I could be wrong about that, but the way he's pretty much pulled out of the Winchester and pulled apart is very similar, or pretty much exactly the same as Captain Rhodes' death in Day of the Dead, and I'll play both of those videos right here. The last one I'm going to talk about is in the closing credits. I can't think of the name of the song, but it has a very da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and it goes back to Dawn of the Dead's mall music when they're pretty much hanging out within the mall, and I'll play the video right here. And there's even more. Like I said, there's some Evil Dead references, there's some John Landis references, there's all kind of things. This movie is so creative and it's fun, and Edgar Wright did such a great job making this movie. Like I said, it's just iconic, it's fun, it's funny, it has scary parts, and the ending is very heartbreaking if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. But I'm not going to get into it, but it's a 22-year-old movie, and if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself and the horror movie subgenre to watch Shaun of the Dead. And I'm pretty much going to end this episode right here. Like I said, I absolutely loved it. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, they were both roommates in real life. They had that great chemistry, and it shows off in here. And if you haven't seen any of their other collaborations, like I said, they did Spaced, which only lasted 2 seasons, but it was absolutely amazing. And pretty much all the zombie extras was fans of Spaced, and they pretty much came out and I believe did it for free or got paid very little. But it was an opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of this movie. Hot Fuzz, like I said, it's absolutely amazing. I love that movie as well. At World's End, it's good at best, but it's kind of a complete letdown from it. And they've worked on other things. I know they were both in Slaughterhouse Rules and Paul together. So it's always fun to see the two collaboration together. But how did y'all feel about Shaun of the Dead?
I never watched it.
Shaun of the Dead, I think I've said this in a previous episode, but Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite zombie movies. And I think the first ever zombie movie I personally remember watching. And it's just a really fun time to watch the movie. Any time you want to watch it.
It's great. After they made it, Edgar Wright sent over a copy to George A. Romero before it was filmed, and he was able to film it by himself or view it by himself, and he absolutely loved it. I think his only comment was, "You need more blood." And if you remember the Disney show Phineas and Ferb, both Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and George A. Romero in the same episode, and it's Night of the Living Pharmacist, and I include those clips right here.
Touch me! I don't want to be a pharmacist. Wait a second. That doesn't even make sense. You get touched by a pharmacist, you become a pharmacist. I mean, you can't just grow a lab coat.
I don't know, perhaps the disease infects your clothing as well.
Infects my... Are you insinuating that my clothes are alive? That's scarier than these pharmacists saying, "Lots of me."
No, I suppose I didn't really think that through.
Lots of me.
The scene with our own action news reporter, Don Adeded. Don?
Thanks, Gordon. I'm standing here in downtown Danville. It's an unbelievable scene. Pharmacists touching people who turn into pharmacists. Here's one of them now. Mr. Mindless Repulsive Pharmacist. Care to comment? Lots of me! And there you have it, folks. Lots of me.
Thanks.
More of me. So the remake of Dawn of the Dead was coming out roughly around the same time, and then a year afterwards, in 2005, George A. Romero took his trilogy and expanded it, and he came with Land of the Dead. And in one of the scenes where people are taking pictures with zombies, you have both Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright playing those two zombies. So like I said, you had a great relationship between the two directors and actors. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm having so much fun with May of the Dead. The only thing is that it's a shame because May's almost over. But we get to go watch some awesome Bigfoot movies with Summer Carnage. But overall, check out Shaun of the Dead. You can find it DVD, Blu-ray. You might be able to still find a VHS copy of it. It's streaming pretty much all over the place. So there's no reason... I can't talk to you. It's just one of those days. There's no reason why you can't find a copy of this movie anywhere. But thank you again for tuning into The Last Video Store. I'm your host, Bud Hattenfield, and I'm here with...
Evan Hadfield.
Colin Haddonfield.
And we just want to thank you for tuning into our May of the Dead episodes. Please give us a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this movie, and please let me know what you think your favorite zombie movie is. I want to know all kinds of your opinions. Let me know your favorite movie. Let me know your least favorite, hated. I'm all over the damn place. But thank you again. Tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on next week's episode. Point baby.
Do you ever think that modern life is not for you? Do you do the same dead-end job every day? Is your love life dying on its feet?
To a wonderful mum.
Oh. Have you ever felt that you're turning into the end of the world? A zombie. Maybe you're not alone.
Pissed. Although no one official is prepared to comment, religious groups are calling it Judgment Day. It is vital that you stay in your homes. Avoid all physical contact with the assailants. So, what's the plan? Bash him in the head, that seems to work out. Why have we got to go to Lizzie's? Because I love her. Alright, gay. Do something! Right there. Hold it there. I'm coming! Here they come! Shaun!
Michael Myers are the heroes of my past. Now the media and he's dying. Chucky and the zombies now Olympic cemetery. So bring